Hello internet friends. I am kind of excited for this video and I never thought I would see this day come. But today we are headed out to Walmart to see if we can find any quality clothing. In last week's video, I focused on Target and I had a couple comments asking for me to do Walmart. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. I thought to myself, you know what? I gotta deliver on this. I have to see if Walmart has any quality clothing. Now, the longer I do this and the more invested I get into researching what quality clothing actually looks like, the more I realize just how nuanced all of this is. So I just want to go into this saying, this is a little bit of my opinion, but my opinion is also heavily influenced by a lot of Reddit threads, a lot of research boards, just me trying to figure out and understand every bit of detail that goes into making these garments. Walmart is really no different than Target as far as different collaboration lines. We have Sophia Vergara, Time and True, Jessica Simpson, which by the way, I for the longest time did not realize this was where you could buy the Jessica Simpson label. I thrift primarily, so I was so confused when I was seeing Jessica Simpson everywhere. I was like, oh, that makes sense. It's sold at Walmart. We also have Scoop and Free Assembly, which trust me, we're really gonna dig into that in a couple minutes. But for now, let's focus on Sophia Vergara and Time and True. Sophia Vergara actually was pretty good. Now, I kind of knew going into this I was going to be bombarded with nothing but polyester and plastic, and I was not wrong. Her line is very hit or miss, just like everything else in the store. I did happen to find this cotton denim button down though that I absolutely fell in love with. I really liked this piece because it felt like it was already slightly worn in. Like it had a very vintage feel to it. I could really tell upon further inspection, the more you wash this, the more wear it's gonna get, but the good type of wear. Like there's differences when it comes to like cotton wear versus polyester wear. Cotton wear, a lot of times it just adds more character and patina to it. Right off the bat, we're already finding something that's 100% cotton, and I really appreciate that. Denim is another thing that across the board, until we get into some of the later brands, most of these are a heavy blend of polyester cotton. Now, I did have some comments on my last video about mixing polyester and cotton and denim. Denim is so particular. Like it is a very personal experience, I think, in a lot of ways. I think for some people, denim with a high amount of stretch is important. Here's my personal hot take. I think once you get past that 5% elastane or polyester line, it is no longer denim. We're going into jegging territory. The beauty of denim is that it has evolved over the years. Designers have found different ways to make it work for different body types. However, I think when you're shopping for denim, I think it's important to remember what denim was originally created for, and it was created for the durability aspect. So when I think of denim, I think of something that is long wearing. I want denim that is going to wear with me for a lifetime. So I do think there is a huge difference between denim and jeggings. And I think most jeggings on the market right now are trying to be classified as denim when they're just not. And you're not going to get as long of a wear if you buy something that is categorized in the jegging category. Now, the majority of these sweaters on the back wall were all polyester, which really bummed me out because that green sweater in particular, I feel like if that was cotton, that could have been a masterpiece. I would steer away from these. I really don't think they're that good a quality. They just feel cheap. They're very wrinkly. There just was nothing that drew me into them until I found this jacket. In the Target video, the whole goal of that was to find anything with wool in it. This jacket just so happened to have wool in it, which I was really surprised by. But the more I started feeling it, the more I was like, okay, I mean, it's definitely mimicking wool. This is the fabric content. It is 58% polyester, 20% recycled polyester, 9% acrylic, 5% rayon, 4% nylon, 2% cotton, and 2% wool. 2% wool is a little laughable. But I will say, as far as the overall construction of this jacket, I thought it was done really well. I was kind of surprised. I did like that this had a little connector piece for the pocket, so it allows the pocket not to hang down, which that tells me there was some attention to detail that went into this. I liked the shape of it. The only thing that I was like, why would they skimp on this, is lining. The moment I got it on, Now, granted, I had a short sleeve t-shirt on, and most people are not gonna be wearing a short sleeve t-shirt when they wear a heavy jacket like this, but it was so scratchy. I was like, is all 2% of the wool just on this like paneling alone? It just didn't feel very comfortable. It really desperately needed lining. That's those things when you are shopping at stores like this, figuring out those little pieces, those little details that they skimped on can really make that huge difference in whether or not you should be buying this item or not. I loved the jacket. The jacket was perfect. It honestly ticked all the boxes for that price point. But man, the moment I got it on, I was like, why? Why are you skimping on a detail that really needed to be there? Okay, time and true, I'm not gonna lie. Anytime I'm at the thrift store and I'm just flipping through and I haven't seen the label yet, 9 times out of 10, whenever I find time and true, I'm like, oh, this feels like something nice. And then I see the label and I'm like, excuse me, what? Take it from someone who feels fabric literally all day, every day. And time and true does a pretty good job, I'm not gonna lie. The one place that I was the most excited about though was their t-shirts. And this goes back to the A New Day t-shirt that I found at Target. And it feels a little weird that I'm just comparing these two big box stores, but it is worth noting the t-shirts at Walmart were so much thicker than the Target t-shirts. These are all machine stitching, so I did find some specifically that had some pretty major flaws when it came to the overall construction of the t-shirt. But all in all, I thought this was a lot thicker, heavier material, and that's what I look for when I look for a t-shirt. Like when I think of the Uniqlo t-shirts, that's what I like about them so much, is not only are they affordable, but they're also thicker and more durable in quality. When I see the A New Day t-shirts, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is like paper thin. I just don't appreciate it.
Walmart number 2, because I did not anticipate how much Florida is all Disney merchandise. Yeah, I couldn't find Free Assembly or Scoop or any of those brands, so I'm really hoping this one has at least something that I can take a look at. Okay, fingers crossed, I'm really hoping for this one.
We finally found Free Assembly and Scoop. Now this is where this video really starts to get interesting in my opinion. I have never really given these two brands a chance, if I'm being completely honest. Now, the whole point of this is to find quality pieces. And so far, I think the only piece that we found is the Sophia Vergara button down. But Scoop and Free Assembly have entered the chat and we are getting somewhere. I honestly have never really paid attention to either of these two brands just because I'm primarily a thrifter. But when you start to see thrift prices become the exact same as big box store prices like this, the more you have to kind of weigh out your options. Obviously, the perks of thrifting is being sustainable and eco-friendly, but even that starts to feel like it's lost on you when everything in the thrift store is polyester, and it kind of has started to feel a little bit like I've lost control of my like good quality wardrobe. I think that's why these videos have become so interesting for me to make, is just kind of exercising those quality muscles to see just what's available out there. Now, Brandon Maxwell is the fashion designer and creative director for both of these labels. Brandon Maxwell has a very high-end line of his own. If you go on his website, you can see most of the pieces start at around $1,000. So you're talking somebody who has a really expansive knowledge of fabric types. He really focuses on women's wear and how it drapes, what type of fabrics to use. He specializes in that. And I think that is so important when it comes to how you're shopping and who you're shopping with. As far as I could tell, both of these lines only come out seasonally, which is another thing that is very important when it comes to fashion and the ecosystem and how often we're turning these garments. When I looked at Target and did a little bit more research on their labels, it looked like in 2017 is around the time when they dropped their in-house labels like Massimo and started releasing collections monthly instead of seasonally. And that to me is a huge red flag. Like, you're just turning these products so much faster. Now, I'm not saying everything was perfect with these labels because there was still quite a bit of polyester in the mix, but there were definitely some pieces that I thought were done very well. For instance, these holiday tops, these were 100% cotton. I liked the puff sleeve detail. The structure on it was great. And they came in so many different colorways. I liked the plaid, I liked the red, I liked the black. It just was a perfect fall, winter, holiday-esque piece. A few pieces that I was a little bit on the fence about. This piece in particular was made by Lensing Eco Vero, which seems like it's a viscose, if I'm understanding everything correctly. If cared for properly, can be a really good garment. It all depends on what type of fabric type you're looking for though. Something about the poorly stitched buttons just made it feel like it was gonna end up looking quite a bit cheaper than it actually needs to. Because I think at the end of the day, that's the goal with a lot of these pieces, is to not only combine quality, but also find something that is going to look expensive, even though you're spending quite a bit less on these garments. This was a jacket from Scoop that I would say probably stay away from with the faux leather trim. I think stuff like that in the wash is gonna end up getting dry rot and flaking. You want to avoid pieces like that. I just think it's a bad combination, and again, it just looks cheaply made. A lot of the sweaters from Free Assembly were still 100% polyester, which was really bumming me out because they were cute in design, and if they were 100% cotton, I would have said heck yes. I did try on this 100% cotton Free Assembly dress. This was kind of like the first plaid top that I showed. Loved the structure on this. The belt on it was so good. It had pockets, which I mean, that to me is just that's a no-brainer. Any of my dresses has to have pockets on it, but I just loved the structure. This was such a complimentary piece. Next, I'm not really sure why I decided to try this on. This was a Lee two-piece set that, like, I love loungewear and I'm constantly looking for good loungewear. This just missed the marks in every sense of the word. You know, the utility jacket just didn't feel very utility. I don't know why I tried this on. I think it was because it was the Lee brand, and I'm always interested in seeing some of these like legacy lines. Like, Lee is an old label. That's something that's been around for decades. So it stood the test of time, but it's just been sold over so many times that like it just keeps getting stripped of quality. This was the plaid Free Assembly top. I love the structure on it. I thought it was so good. I just so happened to find some denim that was 99% cotton, 1% elastane. So I was like, heck yes, sign me up for this. But I will say, this just felt like it still missed the mark. But as far as quality goes, this still felt really good. I really like the dark wash on this. If I wanted to pay that extra money to get this tailored, I think these would be really good jeans. I think these would actually be almost perfect denim. They were really well made. The structure on them was great, but it just felt like there was a little bit lacking, and this was in my size, but it just was still so ill-fitting, and I think the belt actually ended up making it even more ill-fitting. I tried on another pair that was a little bit lighter wash, and again, I felt like on paper, the concept was so good. These really seemed like if I got them tailored, they would be a perfect fit. I think when you're going that price point and you're adding on the tailoring factor, you're just like, oh, I don't know, for that extra price, I could probably just go get Levi's and have them fit perfectly. Jackets. This is the one area that I was just blown away by, especially for the price points. I would say if Walmart is doing anything right, it's their outerwear. The Free Assembly and Scoop line had so many good hits. So many pieces that I was like, yes, 100% I would say add this into my wardrobe. The only downfall to all of it is they are all still polyester. So we're still talking plastic jackets. Plaid one in particular, I really liked the structure on it. It was so well made. Upon closer inspection, you can kind of see there is a little bit of pilling on it. Now that is more of a boucle type design. So it's actually meant to be pilling in a sense. I know that sounds weird, but with the boucle style, it just is like a natural finish. It has a rougher texture. So that is something to keep in mind. That's again, very much a preference thing. I personally really like the style of the jacket. I will say though, it does seem like one of those pieces that like the more you wash it, the less it's gonna look as pristine as it once did. I think that really is the pitfall with a lot of these pieces, is like at first glance, they look really good, but the closer you look at them, the more you start to see the wrinkle detail, the just like not quite pressed, not quite there look that they give off. Whereas I think in these same equivalent pieces, if you go the wool route, you're gonna get something that just looks so much richer in detail. I seriously think this jacket in particular, like if I lived in a colder climate, I would 1000% purchase this coat for my wardrobe. It was so well done, and that is coming from someone who has thrifted, I am not even kidding, probably like 50 plus versions of this jacket throughout every decade. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. It has come through my collection of clothing and sold off in my vintage store. I love jackets like this. This one in particular though, it felt like it was so nicely made. made. And I did find it really interesting that Scoop and Free Assembly both had their own separate version of this. And if you compare the two jackets, you can tell the gray one was so much better in design. There was just something about the structure on it. I think the lining was the most important part to me. If you look at the Scoop version versus the Free Assembly version, you can quickly see the difference in quality. The detail on the lining alone just won me over. This one I about had a heart attack with because it was so good. If you told me this came from Banana Republic or J. Crew, I would have believed you. This is a linen rayon blend, so it has the fabric type that I'm specifically looking for. It's from Scoop. I don't know what the story is on this though. There was only one. I could not find any more, so either people scooped it up because it was that good a quality. Looking this over and seeing how well the fabric is pressed, there's no puckering. It just is a really nicely made blazer. This one, I'm not even kidding. If you told me this was up over $100, I would believe you. This was such a well-made blazer. I was so impressed by it. No notes, 100%. This was a winner for me. This pea coat is the very last jacket that I tried on, but again, I fell in love with this. The structure, I mean, it's 61% polyester, 24% acrylic, and 15% rayon. I've said this so many times, but I really do think there is some good polyester and some bad polyester, and it just all comes down to starting to understand the feel of the fabric. Some polyester is done so well. One of my absolute favorite designers, Izzy Miyake, pretty much only uses polyester fabric, but it's all about the structure and how it was made. I never in a million years thought this day would come, but I was so impressed with Free Assembly and Scoop. And I think learning a little bit more about Brandon Maxwell was just like an aha moment. I actually learned about it when I got to the store and was looking at the product. I was like, this is really good. What's the story behind this brand? Like, I need to learn more. And the moment I got on their website, they actually have a whole feature on their website that shows Brandon Maxwell and the fact that he's the creative director. And I think that's really important. I talk about this a lot on my channel, but like story, history, intention are all things that are so important in clothing. I know sometimes it probably feels like, Laura, you don't really need to go this deep into this topic, but I do think a lot of these things are so important when it comes to long-term where the fashion industry is going. Am I advocating all of a sudden for people to start shopping at these big box retail stores? No, absolutely not. I think I'm just advocating for knowing what you're getting yourself into with any of these clothing purchases. You don't need to go as deep as I do, but I just I nerd out on understanding these things. And I think I'm someone who's always been so invested in clothing history and how we got to the point that we're in right now, what designers have stood the test of time and why. I think just fashion as a whole, even when you strip away the styling aspect of it, fashion is a fascinating topic and it's so interesting to watch patterns. That's why I love trend videos so much. Did I think I would see the day where I am suddenly kind of sort of low-key a fan of Walmart? No, I didn't see this coming. I am kind of starting to wonder though, if some of you guys knew that that was going to happen and that's why you suggested Walmart. Like maybe you were kindly saying, yeah, Target sucks. Maybe go check out Walmart. There's some good stuff to be found there. I feel like some of you guys already knew that secret. Is there anywhere else I should go check out? Don't worry, thrift stores will always be my #1 go-to. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys are new around here, I might have a couple extra videos for you right here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.